So, I never record myself or do Facebook Live, but today on Dr. Phil, they're having a discussion about parents spanking their kids, or other parents whose kids were bullying on the school bus and the parents made their kids walk home from school. This is my 3-year-old. Kinsey, say hi.
Hi.
Do I spank you?
Yeah,
Why?
because I'd be bad.
But are you a good girl?
I'm a good girl now.
Right? But sometimes. Now, with a 3-year-old, obviously, that requires a pop on the butt with your hand. You know, this, on the other hand, is my 13-year-old child. Not quite 14-year-old child. 13-year-old child. I'm 5'6", 115 pounds. My 13-year-old child is 5'8", 120 pounds.
I'm almost 5'11".
Excuse me, almost 5'11". Soon, this child is gonna be 6 foot, 5'10", 5'11", 5 whatever. And do I spank you?
Not all the time.
So, do you respect me?
Yes.
If I told you to do something that was reasonable, would you do it without back talking or complaining?
Most of the time.
If I told you that you weren't allowed to go somewhere, would you try to go anyway?
Sometimes. No.
Would you ever take my car?
No.
Would you ever take money from me?
No.
Would you ever take money from someone else?
No.
Why? Because it's respect. That as parents, because we love our children, we instill into them every day. You don't spank or whoop your children out of anger or being mean or hateful. I spank my child because I want to know that when he is bigger than me, or my daughter when she's 16-year-old and wants to date a 25-year-old man, that I can say no. And I can know that my children are not going to try to fight me or cuss me or yell at me or steal my car, because they know that there would be repercussions for those actions. I also want my children to know that there's consequences for things that you do in your life. There's consequences for actions that you take throughout your entire life. And I want them to know that those consequences get stronger. And it's not going to be a spanking from mom when you steal somebody's car. It's not going to be a spanking from mom when you steal from a store. It's going to be jail. That's where people's teenagers wind up, because there's no discipline, there's no spanking, there's no respect in the household when these children turn into teenagers and into young adults still living at home. That's why people spank, and I think that it's completely absurd that there's people even going on Dr. Phil saying that it's abuse because a man made his child walk to school. There's consequences. There's consequences in real life. And people need to understand that you're raising adults. You're not raising children. Because one day there's going to be nothing that you can do when they're making their own decisions. And me personally, I've walked down several wrong roads. And I thank God and my dad for every single time he laid a belt across my behind. Because when I was in the midst of my mess, it was the spankings, and it was somebody telling me that my actions were not right, that gave me enough guilt and strength and to come back from those situations that you know are wrong, because somebody took the time and somebody cared about you enough to instill those values in you when you were young.